Hey, is this Retro Life Reviews? This is GoGoS, and I just want to say congratulations on your 10th review. You know, there could be a pizza in this for you if you let me on your show!
Hello YouTube, this is RL coming to you again from my channel, and welcome back to another episode of Retro Life, where we review video games from the 1980s and 1990s. And once again, here's my good friend and co-host CK.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another special episode podcast.
Yes, it is a special podcast. It is number 10, our 10th Retro Life review. Bit of a milestone there, CK. Oh, and before I forget, I just want to say, stay tuned to the end. I have a surprise for everybody.
Awesome.
You don't even know what it is.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm excited now.
I'm excited too. First, we have to get to the review. So we review everything in a like, love, and loathe scale, with graphics, music, sound effects, gameplay, controls, difficulty, fun factor, and story if applicable. So we're going to be reviewing the amazingly classic, amazing game for the Nintendo Entertainment System, NES, Super Mario Bros.
Super Mario Bros. A classic that was released by NES in 1985. It was a sequel to the original Mario Brothers game, which was an arcade-based platform type of game, which I don't think a lot of people knew. I didn't know of it until, long after getting older and figuring out, hey, there was actually a game before that just called Mario Bros. So this has been Nintendo's flagship franchise and ultimately had put the company on the map. So it is a fantastic game, and we have the honor of reviewing it for our 10th.
It is an honor to review it. So double love is a 6, love is a 5, double like is a 4, like is a 3, half like is a 2, loathe is a 1, and double loathe is a big fat 0. So let's get started.
All right.
Excited. I've been waiting all week to say that. So what do you think of the graphics in Super Mario Bros, CK?
The graphics. They're first and foremost iconic. If you know Nintendo, then you know the Mustachio Marvel, right? The visualization of the game is something that I think anyone who's played video games knows. Even people that don't play video games know, because it's been iconified in so many places. The graphics in this game are reminiscent of that era. Nothing groundbreaking, but definitely a lot better than other games, with the use of their sprites and the use of, I won't say drop shadows, but using the art to create a three-dimensional look to the game, making everything look bricky or blocky, really adds to the depth of this. Standard colors like any other video game that you would see, and visually, layout wise, with regards to the platforming and stuff, that is truly what makes the game memorable. Graphically, it is a good game, and I give it a retro love.
Alright, that's cool. Alright, so graphics for me. Yeah, what can I say, huh? It's very simple, but it's very effective.
Right.
I just love the classic look. It has a bit of a washed out look to it. Kind of feels almost like watercolors. It's not pastels, but anyways, it looks amazing. I just noticed that. The look of the bricks, the detail of the characters, villains, the sky. In most games before Mario, the background was usually just a black background. Mario introduced color and skies to the world. It made it more dynamic. The graphics are amazing and so iconic. They even did a remake on the Super NES, but you want to know something? I always want to play this one over the Super NES version of it. I just find the graphics are perfect. I just love the way it looks, and the Super NES one tries to make it more modern, but it doesn't really work. I don't know. It doesn't need to be tinkered with. The graphics still hold up to this day. It is amazing. There's nothing that they need to change with the graphics. It's perfect. It's a double retro love for me. Right off the bat, I'm going double retro love.
Nice.
It is iconic. So moving on to music. So what did you think of the music in Super Mario Bros, CK?
The music, it's basically the theme for everything retro, I guess, 30 years later. And forever from this point on will always be a theme song for that generation. And the level 1, obviously, dun, 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 that only now do we really, really appreciate that level of composition and simplicity and effectiveness and likability. It's memorable. It's a tune that sticks in your head and you will never, ever forget it. I also like the immersion. Every level has its own tone. Every level has its own feel. The score kind of sets the mood and sometimes dictates the pace. It becomes something that you can associate with. So when you hear the music, you know the level, whether it's underwater, whether it's the Cloud Kingdom, or whether it's on the mainland. Though the game has elements that repeat over, the music really doesn't, and it's really unique in that way. So I give the music a retro double love.
Oh, wow. Double love. Feels like a competition right now. Anyways, so music for me, it is beyond iconic. It's like double iconic, The word iconic was invented for this music. I'm not joking. I'm serious. It's like iconic is a word that they had to create for Mario, in my opinion.
Yep.
It's actually one of the first games that actually had music. There's a lot of games before that era, before Nintendo came in, where they were just like, Atari games. They were just silent, beeps and boops and sound effects, but didn't have in-game music, really. It wasn't a common thing. So music in a Mario game, this is so unique. It was so groundbreaking, It's hard to say, like, now you think, music in a game is groundbreaking, but back in the day, when it came out, this was something very, very unique. And the music was amazing. It's still amazing to this day. The first level, doot, 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 doot. I'm repeating it, but it needs to be repeated, I'm going to say it all the time. This guy should be humming it the whole freaking time. But it is an amazing, amazing music. I could play that first level over and over again. It doesn't get boring to me. The music is amazing. I don't know what else to say. Every track is unique. It's awesome. It's iconic, and iconic sounds like a downgrade. So I have to say it's double iconic for this game. Okay. So as you know where I'm going with this game gets a double retro love for music. It's two in a row.
Of course. So it is a competition. Jeez, okay.
It's not a competition, but you guys say what you gotta say. You review it the way you feel you need to review it. So don't let me influence, and I'm not gonna let you influence me. Everything I say is just all genuine. So moving on to sound effects. What'd you think of the sound effects in Super Mario Bros, CK?
Sound effects. For me, it's definitely unforgettable. Things like the put of the fireballs, the busting bricks, the boinging of the jumping, and the collecting of coins, the blinging, bling, bling sound. Like those 4 sound effects alone define the whole game. And, the baddies don't really have any sounds. I guess like the bridge that Bowser is on. That's one of the few that have a different sound from the everyday. Ultimately, it's jumping, brick busting, and fireballs. Like that's the whole game. When you think about how simple those sounds were, yet effective and not as annoying as you think they would be, it just works. They sit in there, they do their purpose, and they give you an audible response of your reactions and your actions, I should say. And, I guess only if you would associate it with bad experience, like if you really were bad at the game and always dying, that like every single, I can understand that being like, ingrained in someone, be like, oh, that sound.
Still like that, actually. I really still like that. Even though I die a lot, I really don't hate that. That just tells you how amazing everything is in this game. The sound effects are just awesome. Just little things like that. You would be annoyed, wouldn't you? But no, not in this game, CK. Not in this game.
Yeah, so other than that, some of the sound effects, ultimately, they are simple, but they work. They don't take away from the game, and I honestly think they really do add to the experience. And for that, it's a retro double like.
Oh, okay. Retro double like. That's fair. That's okay. That's okay.
Works.
I thought you were going to go double love. I was like, oh boy, I gotta... This is really competition now. Double like threw me a little off there. But hey, that's okay. That's okay. Alright, so sound effects for me. I really love all the sounds of this game. Everything from the coins, the brick sounds, everything really sounds amazing. As you said, all the little bumping of the enemies and fireballs. They're iconic. They're not annoying. They're so groundbreaking. They're so unique for its time and so effective and simple that they are the template for all sound effects moving forward to this date. Every time you hear a coin, a breaking of the bricks, bopping, or anything, you think of Mario. It's like the granddaddy of the video game universe. it really started a new era. It was the dark phoenix of video games. It came from nowhere out of the ashes of the Atari system and the failure of other games like E.T. and everyone was making a video game console. And even pharmacies were starting to make video games, for crying out loud. I kid you not, CK. There was so much out there. People were enough is enough. And it wasn't just E.T. That was the game that broke the camel's back, but Mario brought it back from the brink of disaster. It was so bad, CK, that Nintendo literally had to beg people to put it into the market because nobody wanted it. But Mario saved the industry. It's the phoenix of gaming. Yeah, I haven't even rated sound. I thought I rated everything at this point.
But you haven't
I've been raving, but I haven't been rating. As you know, sound effects, it's going to get a retro love. I mean, I was tempted to give it a double love, but my god, I can't go straight up double loves down the board. Maybe I can. You never know. The night is young. The review is young. Anyways, moving on to gameplay. What do you think of the gameplay in Super Mario Bros., CK?
The gameplay is fun and engaging. If whether you're good at the game or not, whether you're good at just video games in general, whether you have that hand-eye coordination or not, it caters to all those levels, and it makes playing the game fun. Everything about it just says this isn't real. Sit back and enjoy yourself. And those that want to take the time and play, they do. And those that are serious, that want to collect coins and get massive scores or do speed runs, they can do that as well. That shows you something about this game, how something so simple and pure can work so well. Doesn't need to be over complicated, doesn't need to be convoluted, doesn't need to be super deep. It just needed to touch people's hearts, and that's what Nintendo has delivered to the world, and it's fantastic. Outside of that, really, I mean, that's the greatest praise a lot of games can get. The monotony, which you don't get. I know it sounds like a negative thing, but it's not. It's the monotony that you don't get from other games where doing the same thing over and over. Though you are technically doing that in this game, the level designs make the game varied and enjoyable. The dungeon run to get past Bowser, I didn't like that part. It was always a, how do I time this? Do I jump? Do I go? Do I guess? And that little bit of latency in Mario when you're starting to run and you stop and you have to start to run again. It's challenging. It's simple, but it's challenging. I don't think anyone can say they weren't frustrated at getting to the end knowing that the princess is in another castle. And though the game isn't very long, you can play through this in 40 minutes maybe?
With the warping, you could play it in 5 minutes probably.
That's right. It's a sit back and play game, but then you can be hyper technical and go in there and challenge yourself as well. And I like that about it. So it gets a double retro love from me.
Alright, for gameplay, double retro love. Wow. Gotta step up my game now.
You always keep saying that.
Nah, it's just a special.
You're still scoring higher than I am.
It's a special review. Alright, so gameplay for me. I like to say the precursor to an open world game. It wasn't open world, obviously, but there was so much you could do, explore, go to different areas and pick different spots that you want to go to. I'm talking about those pipes, and that makes it a lot more adventurous in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But this game was linear, but it still felt more open than any other game because there was so much stuff that you didn't even know existed until you actually played it again and again. How many times you'd hit those blocks just to see what's there, just to see if it's something you haven't found yet. It's just amazing. It made you play the game and challenge yourself to not speed run. I love Sonic as much as anybody, but Sonic was all about the speed. Mario was about exploration, trying to find things you never found before. That's Mario. That's why it's still replayable to this day. You still can find new stuff that you never even knew was there to begin with. Because there's all these little secrets, and there's secrets in Sonic, but when you're speeding through the darn game, you're really not going to get any secrets, And Mario was not about speed, but he could still run. Maybe not as much as Sonic can, but he could run. He's got a speed burst. He's pretty damn fast, if you ask me.
Yes, he is.
And I think he'd jump a little higher. But anyways, it's not a competition. The gameplay is amazing. From the bopping on the enemies to the climbing on the beanstalk, all those elements make the gameplay so enjoyable to play. It's simple. It's not overly convoluted. I always enjoy the gameplay. It always puts a smile on my face. And I really love the mushrooms. The ones that give you that one-up.
Yeah.
Or makes you bigger, which is always amazing because when you're small, you're always afraid to jump or do anything because you might die on that first hit. The gameplay is pitch perfect. There's nothing nothing wrong with the gameplay, and it gets a retro double love.
But of course.
But of course. So moving on to controls. So what do you think of the controls in this game?
The controls are tight. If you really wanted to, and you understood the edge pixel on bricks, you can do a lot in this game. And there are a lot of jumps in this game that require you to kind of be closer to the edge. I mean, level 1, first flagpole, literally tests your knowledge and your coordination and your timing. It was built in there on purpose because they're training you, they're coaching you to understand that there are moments where you're going to need to jump off the edge of a brick to land on the edge of the next platform. And if you don't, good luck, right?
Good luck, son.
It is a great way to show people how to get in there. And ultimately, that jump and control where you can move yourself in the air when you're landing, again, there are a lot of games that didn't do that at the time. So tricky to try and time a jump from the beginning versus being able to adjust in midair. And ultimately, that to me should be part of every single game that has a character that leaves the ground. You should be able to control them in midair. Unfortunately, it's not realistic. This is not real life. So, therefore...
No, Mario does not live in our universe. That is for sure. He is a superhuman character.
And the simple movements like jump, run, duck, slide, shoot, those 5 elements, those 5 motions really in this game define it. And it could have literally just been jump and walk, but, you know, all the others give more dynamic elements, dynamic gameplay, control to the game. Mm-hmm. You know, being able to run and duck and slide on the bricks that are low to get out of certain areas or to break certain bricks that may have, like you said, secrets in them. Mm-hmm. That was all in the game. And you don't know it until you've played it a couple times or seen someone do it. And you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that actually existed there. And I didn't know that I could have done that. And
replay value.
Yeah, replay value. Man, the game has so much depth.
I think it's the first real replay value game where you actually want to play it over and over again. And it challenged you to do that. You never got bored.
Yeah. What more can you ask from a game where you have your hero looking for the princess? It's a super straightforward control-based game. Move your character forward or back, jump, and advance to the next level. But it just works. And like you said, it just created that passion to rebirth the home gaming console in the world. And for that, it gets a retro love from me.
Nice. Redeemed yourself.
Yes.
From that double like. How dare you insult this game? No, I'm joking. Controls for me, tight. And I've said it in all the other, I've referenced it many times. Every time we talk about controls, I always say Mario.
That's right.
It's not as good as Mario. The tight controls. Yoshi's Island, tight controls. Maybe not as good as Mario, but it's still tight. And I'm telling you, it all comes down to the Mario, because I'm telling you, if Mario's controls were not tight, we would not be talking about this game, the amount of love that we have today, because it would have been frustrating, because those jumps, some of those jumps can be really, really hard. And if you didn't have tight controls, those jumps would have been brutal.
Yes.
And I mean brutal. I'm not the best in jumping. I am klutzy. But I never have much trouble in Mario doing the jumping because they're super, super polished and tight. And I cannot complain about the controls. They are unbelievable. They are so iconic. Just as iconic as the actual game itself is the controls. I'm not joking. It sounds like I'm joking, but I'm not. They are unbelievably polished. I can't say enough good things about the controls because they're perfect. So guess what? Guess what? It is a triple. No. Retro. Wow. It's a retro double love.
You know what? I believe that this special edition may require a special grade. And I think I'll give you this one. You want a double amp?
Don't tempt me here. We got 2 more review sections coming up, and just looking at my pad, and I'm thinking, I know where I could fit that in. Thank you. I will consider that. So moving on to difficulty. What do you think of the difficulty in this game, CK?
The difficulty in this game scales well. Ultimately, I think a difficulty in every Mario game scales well because, quite frankly, that's the way they needed to build it. Build it so that a 5-6-year-old can play, but a 30-year-old still has an enjoyable, challenging time. And it really comes down to practice. Now, with difficulty in games like this that don't have a difficulty selection, it all comes down to memory. It all comes down to that, and it really is where the replayability is tacked on as well. You know, going back in and seeing if you could do better, going back in and see if you could do it faster, going back in and see if you can get everything. The difficulty helps you do that without you being bashed and beaten and ultimately, ego bruised. Nobody wants that because usually games kind of get put on the shelf and never see the light of day again.
I know some games.
Yes, the game that should not be mentioned. I
was thinking Contra, any Contra game. That bruises one's ego.
The difficulty for this is just right. And because it's just right, but it's on the easy side of just right, I'm going to give it a retro double like.
Back to double like. Okay, cool.
There's nothing wrong with a double like, dude.
No, there's nothing wrong with double like. Unless it's Mario Brothers and everything should be a damn love. It's the only review that I think this way. So yeah, difficulty for me. The difficulty, it's got a sliding scale. There's no controlling the difficulty. The first few levels are super easy.
Yes.
They get a little bit harder. There are a lot of levels where you're sliding. They're still pinpoint, but not as much friction. There's ice levels and underwater levels, which really frustrate me. I never like those underwater levels. They're still fun. I mean, there's nothing in this game that's not fun. But the reason I'm not crazy about those water levels is that darn springy thing. I don't know what it is. It always seems to know where you're gonna go. It's like it's got psychic abilities. I don't know his name. What's his name? Anyway, he's a springy guy. I call him Springy Guy. Him and the Hammerhead guys are annoying.
The Hammer Bros, yes.
Those Bros. Oh my god.
Those guys are my bane in this game. Always.
Yeah, they're my nemesis. Once you get to level 8, oh, for crying out loud, there's 3 of them there. Yeah, it gets a little difficult, obviously, later levels, and it's not easy, but the game isn't to the point where you're like frustrated. It's fair. It's fair hard. It's
Agreed.
Hard. It's fair. So it gets a it gets a retro love for difficulty.
There you go. There's no thought required for that. Come on.
I just wanted some dramatic effect. Anyway, so moving on to fun factor. What's the fun factor for you in this game, CK?
Fun. That's my fun factor. It is a fun game. I think anyone who played the game, whether you've played it a lot, whether you played it a little, whether you've touched it at all, or just know of it through, family or friends playing, the game's fun. I can't fathom a person being like, meh, Mario Bros is lame. I don't think those words have ever been spoken in my vicinity since I've been alive. I still love it. As much as I'm not a huge platformer fan, at least now more so than I was then. I loved platform games back then because that was the majority of the games back then. You can always go back and pick up a Mario game and play it and have fun. And I think with that alone, this fun factor gets a retro love from me.
Oh wow! I really thought you were gonna go double love. I was even gonna write
I really
down.
like the game, but I don't love the game.
All right. Yeah. So fun factor for me.
Yeah.
I wrote it's beyond fun. It's beyond excitement, enjoyment, everything about it. You can play the first level over and over again. As I said, it doesn't get boring, and the way you kill the enemies and bopping on their heads was not done before Mario. I know it wasn't done before Mario. It was fun. It was engaging. It was enjoyable. It was just unbelievable, and it's beyond fun. Nothing about this game is boring. Nothing about this game is frustrating. Even when you're dying, how could you freaking not be frustrated when you die, CK? Honestly, there are times where you get frustrated, obviously, but it's still fun. The way you die, the creative ways they do it with the moving flames that are around, there's like spirals of flames. It's so creative. There's so many ways to die. This game is very simplistic because it was the first. It didn't have many power-ups. It had one power-up?
Well, I guess technically if you call getting bigger a power-up, then he has
2 power-ups.
That's right.
Yeah, you had the flame, the firepower, very simple but iconic. That firepower is so much fun. The game is just, what else can I say? It is a triple love. I don't know if I'm going to really give it a triple love. I have to make a new icon for it, but really it is a double love because it's so iconic and it's our 10th review. I will say it's a triple love.
Triple love. There you go, brother. Respect.
Awesome. No story.
There's no story.
There's no story. Find the princess in the other castle. So moving on to influence. What did you feel the influence of Mario is, CK?
Mario did everything for the gaming industry. Now, that's a bit of a loaded statement there, but ultimately influence does get a 2. Everything after Mario Bros had some direct or indirect reference to the game, honestly, and to the experience, the platform, side-scrolling platform experience. Whether it was a genre that the game exists in or a direct experience plucked right from the game, like jumping on the heads, like you said, I don't think there was another game that had any character that jumped on the heads of another to kill them. Look at Donkey Kong Country. The whole premise of that is bonking on heads. And the whole idea of a lot of games after Mario really were just jump on the heads to kill the enemies. So every game in some way, shape, or form had some direct or indirect reference. So it gets a 2.
Yeah, so influence. This game is the most influential game in the history of gaming. If you're going to put a list of influential games, it's Mario, Grand Theft Auto, Metal Gear Solid, maybe Resident Evil, Silent Hill.
Yeah.
I mean, other than those games, this game is the most iconic, influential game. And for this review alone, I am going to give it a 3 because I'm bypassing. Sorry, it's a 3. How can I give it 2? When other games I've given it 2. No, there is in this one. If this one it does, because Mario deserves it. I'm sorry, I'm changing the rules just for this one. Just for this one, because honestly, I feel like if I give some other games I gave it 2, and I'm like, honestly, compared to Mario, they don't deserve a 2. So Mario deserves a 3, and if any game deserves a 3, it's Mario. So I'm getting a 3. You can change your review if you want to change it to a 3. You can go for it, but I am keeping it a 3 because that's my conviction. It is not a 2. 1 to 2 is every other game, but Mario gets a 3.
I get it, and I respect that. I still like to play within borders, but this is a special review. This is your baby. This is your history. This is everything.
It deserves it.
Yeah.
This deserves it. Because of the fact that it's Mario, the first Super Mario Bros. Saved the industry. This game deserves all the love it gets. It's not exaggerated. It is all genuine. That's what I have to say. So 3 it is. Alright, so you scored a 37, and I scored a 44, like it says on the top for now on. Alright, so now we get to flip a coin to see who gets to choose the next 2 games you guys get to vote on. So heads is high, you get to flip.
Heads is high, here we go. And it is heads.
Awesome! I so wanted to win this one for some reason. I have no idea why. Alright, so my 2 choices are going to be, I think it's time to do a Retro Loaf review. We haven't done one in a while since the, what? Alright, so I'm going to pick Who Framed Roger Rabbit for the NES.
Okay.
And my second pick is going to be Jaws for the NES as well. So the 2 LGN games that you guys get to choose for our next retro review, and it's gonna be a fun hate retro loathing review because this one was a love fest. But as I said, there is a special add-on to this review.
Yes, that's right. That you didn't even tell me about.
Well, it's so special. No one knew but me.
Oh, okay.
So as you know, CK, it is our 10th Retro Life review.
Awesome.
So I wanted to do something really freaking awesome for all our fans. So guess what happened?
Maybe I don't know.
Alright, I'm just too excited, so I have to tell you. You're not going to fucking believe it. You know the game that should not be mentioned?
Yes, we all know the game that should not be mentioned.
Yes, I know. But I don't know how it happened, but for some reason, because we played this freaking game, I was able to go back in time and talk to Mini-Me.
Wait. You went back in time? Okay. It's weird.
I know! It's freaking awesome.
That is pretty cool.
So he's going to actually call us on the freaking show. I mean, it's perfect. I mean, he loves retro games.
Well, I guess if it's you, yeah, I guess you would.
Well, from his perspective, it's modern, but I mean, or wait, isn't it from my perspective? Time travel is just so confusing, CK. Oh my goodness, who is calling us at the show? It's not even a call-in show. Hello.
Hi, I'd like to order a pizza, half jalapeno, half...
Hey, sorry kid, you got the wrong number. This is not a pizza place. This is Retro Life Reviews.
Does that mean you can't make me a pizza?
Yeah.
What kind of games do you review? Space Invaders? Pong?
No. Actually, we review video games from the 80s and 90s.
90s aren't retro.
What are you talking about, kid? It's not like 90s are modern. Wait a second. Is this little RL?
I'm not little. And if you're not gonna make me a pizza, I'm gonna go back to playing Super Mario Bros.
This is just way too funny. We just reviewed Super Mario Bros. For the NES.
What other system would it be on?
Are you being snarky? 'Cause good luck.
Good luck.
Alright, kid, just humor me. I just got the craziest idea. Why don't you give us a very brief review on Super Mario Bros?
Well, I like the mustachio guy, and it's fun when he eats the mushrooms and turns big, and the firepower flower is pretty awesome. You know, 'cause because fireballs are always cool.
That is true.
It's just annoying that the princess is never in the castle you want her to be. It's a little
He's got a point.
frustrating. But the warping is awesome, so that makes up for it. I mean, I still have to beat it, so hope there's no spoilers in your review.
No worries, kid. There's no spoilers in this. All I'm going to say is this is just an amazingly awesome game.
Hey, you said no spoilers.
Saying a game is awesome is not a spoiler.
Yeah, it so is, because I don't know yet that it is. And now that you told me it is, I won't figure it out for myself that it is, because I'm too trusting.
He's not wrong there.
Alright, well, yeah, don't worry about it. Just enjoy the game. Alright, we gotta go.
Bye.
Bye.
TK, I'm so sorry. I did not know I was that frickin' weird. Oh boy, I hope I didn't mess up the time continuum.
Oh, let's hope not. So, hold on. How did you get yourself to call us from the past?
Okay, the short explanation is Mini-Me likes pizza. That's pretty obvious, and I figured I'll give him a pizza number, and I had 30 years to change the number to Retro Life. I mean, pizza places don't last forever, CK.
What do you mean? Like, it's phone numbers, time.
You know, CK, some things just cannot be explained.
Okay, we'll just leave it at that. Cannot be explained.
But you have to admit, that was pretty cool. I just had myself call from the past. How cool is that? Our 10th freaking episode. Oh, wait, another call. We're not even a call-in show. We're getting people calling us.
Hey,
Oh, it's Go Ass.
I hear it's your 10th show.
Yeah, we just finished up a review on Super Mario Bros. For the NES. And it got all freaking double retro loves. Who would have thought?
Awesome. Congratulations on your 10th episode. You guys got retro love. Woo!
Appreciate the excitement.
Bye.
Bye.
So, wow, that was something else, CK.
Totally. I'm still reeling on how that actually happened.
We have a new segment, the Retro Life Adventures. It's going to be fun.
It is going to be fun.
So on that note, we'll have more Retro Life reviews in the weeks, months, and years to come. Bye for now.
See you guys next time.
Big and a power up of flower power. Flower power. Outtake. Roger Rabbit. Yeah, that's another one. That's a nice. LGN never did that one.
Roger Rabbit.
And then another freaking outtake.